Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. This one, the Ospreys taking on the Stormers. Now, currently, the South African sides have been doing very well in their first round of the Rugby Championship, the United Rugby Championship. 2 wins from 2. The Lions beating Ulster and the Bulls beating Edinburgh. But now we see the Ospreys. They are considered as the slight underdogs. The Stormers are the favourites. Now, there is also another game that has taken place at the same time as this one between the Sharks and Connacht. We will also be keeping you up to date with the score throughout that fixture. But looking through at the starting lineup in this contest for the Ospreys, few familiar Welsh faces in the starting side. Jack Morgan, great to see him back after quite a long injury layoff from the Welsh international side. Adam Beard in that locking duo, and this back line of Owen Watkin in the midfield alongside Kieran Williams. Jack Walsh at number 15, another man to watch out for. In terms of the Stormers starting lineup, I feel like there is a lot of excitement when it comes to that number 15 jersey. Damian Valimza back for the Stormers. He will be trying to earn himself a spot back in that starting lineup. All reserves for the Springboks after the last game, though, with Apalele Fassi performing out of his shoes. It's going to be pretty tricky for Valimza to get straight back in. But in the front row, Satoli Dweba and Nedeling Faucher, I think we're going to see a lot of physicality throughout this game for the Stormers. Then also Paul de Vet and Mattia as the 19 combination. Ruan Nel and Dan Duplessis, nothing wrong with that duo either. And Lillian Zas, Hudson-Burke and Valimza, like I mentioned, back at number 15. Then looking through at the benches for these two sides, Thokana Singer is going to be there at number 22. And for the Stormers, Brock Harris, how old is that bloke? But he's still playing strong. Ben Jason Dixon also there at number 20. Now, he recently got some pretty good opportunities for the Springboks. Wasn't really able to capitalise on that number 7 jersey because, when Peter Steph-Toy is going to make his way back in, it always makes it very challenging to try and keep your spot. But in the chat, we have got there, Hamish put in the hours, says Anthony. Yeah, the voice is starting to sound a little bit more rough, I will be honest, but hopefully it does stick around for the whole of this contest. And like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a co-stream, I guess you could say. We're going to be keeping an eye on both of these contests and you know exactly who is going to be winning them. The Sharks, they've got a big challenge up against Connacht, which is just about to take place. And then the other game, like I said, that we are already covering, it is going to be the Stormers taking on the Osprey. Looking more casual for this game, says Clinton. Yeah, I've taken off the suit. I felt like that was a relatively good plan. It's quite tight, the tie, to be fair. So I don't mind the more casual approach. Hopefully you guys don't mind it either. But looking through at the starting lineup, like I said, there's quite a few decent-looking players. That sounded weird, but decent in terms of form-looking players for the Ospreys. They had a close game in round number 1, which is exactly what happened for all the sides, to be fair. Some really close fixtures. This one, though, there's a chance it could be a little bit more one-sided. But to who? We don't really know. But, yeah, Connacht versus the Sharks, the other game that has taken place. So what we will do is as soon as kickoff starts, we will have a scoreboard down the bottom. What happened in the Bulls game? In the end, the Bulls able to get themselves, I believe it was a 6-point win over Edinburgh. So 2 South African sides going back-to-back and winning in their first round of the URC. We saw the 2 home sides getting victories, but can these 2 away teams also have that same fate? Now, Sharks, they are a bigger underdog than we see here for the Stormers. Didn't watch the South African game, but Argentina have no consistency by the looks of it, says Anthony. Unfortunately, they put 2 big games together in a row. In fact, you could even argue they put 3 big games together in a row because we saw them do extremely well up against Australia where they lost by 1 point. We saw them then beat the Aussies by 40, but then they were defeated by the Springboks in this final round. But before that, still pulling off a win up against the world champs. So even though there'll be disappointing moments throughout this rugby championship for Argentina, there's still a lot that they can be proud of. At the end of the day, they beat every single side. And the only other side to say that is the side that won the competition, being the Springboks. But Dan Duplessis going to be captaining the side. Expect running rugby from these 2. I hope it is, just because we've already done an all-nighter. So after an all-nighter, the last thing you want is like a 3-6 halftime score. Now, I don't want to jinx that, but, if that was to happen, I would possibly have a nap at half-time and forget to wake up for the second half. So let's hope for some good tries being scored. The two sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel. In fact, this time now it's going to be the home side, the Ospreys. They'll be fired up for this contest just to try and put together a big win over a South African side. It is something that gives you a few bragging rights. Of course, the Welsh going to be going head-to-head with South Africa later on in the year. Also, South Africa facing England, as well as Scotland as their other fixture. Some fireworks going off. They've really extended the budget by the looks of it for this contest, the second round of the URC. The Stormers want to get off to a great start in their URC season, and perhaps being able to beat the Ospreys would be a great, in some regards, a stepping stone towards next week and the week after. And commentators curse, be careful, Hamish. I mean, I did jinx up a Lelefasi in that Springboks game. I said he has been catching absolutely everything. He made bad passes look great, and then he dropped the easiest pass he got of the whole game. So, commentators curse, it's a real thing. Andrew Brace will be in charge of this contest. Ollie Hodges is the TMO, Reece Jones and Ben Connor as the two other assistant referees. Andrew Brace looks like he's aged about 5 years in 1 month. I feel like that's what happens when you referee international rugby. It can certainly take a toll on the body. This game just about to get underway, and the Sharks game has just started as well. Already there was a knock-on from the Sharks. Not a great start to the contest, but we will go like that. There we go. So that is the scoreboard for what is happening in the other game. For this game, we are, of course, going to keep you updated, but it's nicely claimed by the Ospreys. They are inside of their own 22, being rolled back by Ruben Morgan Williams. And we'll look to find the touchline. Now, one thing I'm noticing already is that the in-goal areas look a little bit different to normal, but already we're seeing Damien Valimza with his hands on the ball, Paul de Vet going off to this left-hand side, talking about how long he's been out with an injury. It has been a while, and it's felt like even longer because we're in the international season. Sometimes outside of internationals, an injury can fly by, but when there are games constantly taking place, he missed those games up against the Irish. Now Valimza wants to work his way back in, thinking about the kick in behind was Matia, but it's well controlled there by Watkins, and it does just drift into touch. Quick throw taken by the Stormers, trying to catch them off guard. Now, normally they do have someone like a Clayton Blomekes in the back three, Mani Libok, Damien Valimza. You can name about 10 different Stormers players who are absolutely phenomenal, who have played in that back three or just that back line in general. Lillian Zuss and Hudsonberg, the two options that they have gone with out on the wings here. Now, kicking this one up high will be Paul de Vet. Chasing after it was Hudsonberg, but he's been wrong-footed. Nice take by the youngster Jack Walsh at number 15. Really solid young fullback. Had a good game last week. Nice offload coming from the back. Watkin puts it out wide. And our chance on the wing here for Luke Morgan. Just manages to stay in the field of play. Now back across to the short side. Edwards taking a bit of a risk. Curling it into touch into the 22. Come on, Stormers, says Dion Lagrange. Yeah, for all the South African sides, it is about trying to get the best possible start in this URC competition. We saw how unlucky the Lions were last year with missing out. Well, actually, it was this year because, the URC, quite a long competition. But we saw that they just narrowly missed out. And it was actually, I believe, to the Ospreys. So they've already got themselves the bonus point win in their opening contest. Tell you what, Connacht are looking very strong in the early stages of their match as well. Joseph Dweber to throw this ball in for the Stormers. Gets it on the outside shoulder of his lock. This game it is Ruben van Heerden. And that one has been put into touch by Matia. Already 3 minutes into this game. But do let me know your score predictions. I know that Grant, for one, will be back in the Stormers to get the victory. And I would assume he's backing them to get a relatively large one. Don't know if you've seen Dupont. He's been spending time with the LA Chargers NFL team. Do you think he would do, or how do you think he would do in NFL? If it's anything else like Antoine Dupont, in terms of his sevens, in terms of his union, he'd probably just be annoyingly good at it, even though he hasn't trained in it. That is going to be the penalty going the way of the Stormers. Now, I should mention Connacht have already scored in the game up against the Sharks, so not exactly the start that they were after. And it also looks like there's going to be an HIA for Owen Watkin, taking a bit of a head knock in the early stages of the match. A great start for Connacht. Rolling maul try coming for them. Breaking off the back. I believe that would have been Baron who got himself over. Currently in this game, we've only had a couple penalties. It's always interesting when you get that head-to-head, 2 games taking place at the same time. One of them's going to be the higher scoring one. See if the Stormers and the Ospreys can catch up. It's going to be Josh Ioane actually taking the kick in the Connacht game. Kiwi. Aidan Morgan also playing in the URC this year for Ulster. Had some decent moments, but also looked like he was struggling at altitude. Joseph Dweber to line up this line out now. He's not even close to the middle of it. What's he? Okay, they've lined it up now, but he was miles off the middle there for Joseph Dweber. 7-0 now for Connacht in their game up against the Sharks. And Bulls win 22-16. Says Christina there, and Stormers by 13, says Clinton. Now, going back to the left-hand side here for the Stormers, Paul Davet. Oh, it's a big attacking run of JD Schickeling. Ruben van Heeren. Back across to the left-hand side, Mattia finds a great pass. Great defence so far from the Ospreys. Skip pass though out wide to Hartzenberg. Didn't want to go to Dan du Plessis, who gives him a bit of a clap and tells him he should have passed it. Type of thing you can't really afford to do. Making little mistakes. Great cross kick. Straight into the hands of Ruan now, who found himself out on the wing. Got the offload away. Some great stepping from Ruben van Heeren. Almost makes it over the try line, 2 metres out from the line. The Stormers going to the left-hand side. Some silky skills. And Lillian Zas will score the first try of the contest. It was a pretty good try for the Stormers. Just quick hands. And that has almost silenced this Ospreys crowd. They were not expecting the early try to be scored by the away side. I mentioned how this game was expected to be extremely close. A lot closer than the Sharks versus Connacht. Get in, boys, says Grant there as well. I don't think that's how you would have actually said it, though, Grant. Got a bit of a deeper voice than myself. I don't even want to try and impersonate it because I feel like if I get it wrong, you might be offended. But, yeah. I'm sure you're very happy with that first try coming for the Stormers. And it was just off a good bit of phase play, just breaking forward. Go the Stormers is excited Siberian Husky. Don't think I've seen an excited Siberian Husky, if I'm being honest. I can't even remember what a Siberian Husky looks like. The kick from Mattia is straight down the middle of the pegs. And that is now going to make the score 7-0 for the Stormers. And always like an early try, says Anthony. It always sets the tone for the game, doesn't it? It makes you feel like it's going to be a fast-paced, high-scoring contest, which is exactly what we want to see. Like when you've just witnessed the Springboks beat Argentina by 41, you want to see another big game afterwards, if that makes sense. Like we saw it, how New Zealand versus Australia was close. Then we saw the Curry Cup final last week, which was phenomenal. We saw Fiji run away with the game up against the Japanese, and then Springboks Argentina going down to the wire. So we got pretty spoiled last week, and I feel like there's been some good rugby this weekend as well. Although not really too many close games of the ones that we have called. We've actually called 3 games, and all of them have been one-sided. Congratulations to the Springboks clinching the Rugby Championship or Super Rugby title. I think you mean Rugby Championship. Terrific performance by the Springboks. Now it's time for the URC, says Morne Lagrange. Currently 7 minutes into the contest. It's going to be the line-out throw for Dewey Lake. We'll be hoping to get some international minutes in the near future. Wales, they've got a few big games coming up for their November internationals, one of which up against the Springboks. We owe the Ospreys one. The last game at DHL Stadium did not end well, says Grant. I do actually have it here. I could show you the score. I don't think you want to see it. Quickly, just close your eyes. There we go. Last time, 21 points to 27, and there is a penalty going the way of the Ospreys, and it actually looks like they are willing to take the 3 points here. Not going too risky for this one. And that's the thing, it's still early on in the game. They can build into it. I think it was just a little bit offside for the Stormers. In fact, it was no clear release when trying to get that turnover. I should probably take that score away, shouldn't I? No need for that, Hamish. I apologise, Grant. But 45 metres out, first kick of the day for Dan Edwards. See if he can strike it straight down the middle. Not much breeze by the looks of it either. Pretty still night, and that one has gone straight over, which will now make the score 7 points to 3 after just under the 9 minutes. At the moment, the Sharks playing Connacht. Connacht are still 7-0 up. We will keep that scoreboard updating all throughout the game. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's going to be kicked off long by the Stormers. Some decent height on it, nicely taken inside of the 22. Oh, he almost did his knee there. I think kicking that one downfield, bit of an awkward one for Kieran Williams. This is a match on TV in Ireland. I'm not sure about this game. I assume if there was one on Irish TV, it would be Connacht versus the Sharks, as that one has taken place at the same time. So I think they'll be more likely to show that one on Irish TV than the game without an Irish side. Nicely thrown in by Joseph De Weber. Now going off to the right-hand side. And Duplessis. Attack and run. 40 metres out from the line. 7, says Fred. If you had to add a new rule to rugby union, what do you pick? Ooh, it's a good question. Beautiful ball. Going to Hudson-Berg, just staying inside of the 22, keeping his legs in the air. Now step in, Damien Willemse. We'll come back to that one about adding a new rule in a very short moment. I feel like last time I had a really good answer for that, and I can't remember what it was. But everyone was like, yeah, that's actually a good rule, and now I can't remember it. Which is quite sad, really. Now passed on the outside. Paul de Vet, currently 30 metres out from the line here for the Stormers. JD Schreckeling. 7 phases in a row. Mattia looks for a gap. They're just doing well here, the Stormers. Starting this match a lot better than I think even some anticipated, with them being away from home. Great offload from Ruben van Heeren. Marcel Tennyson having the hands on the ball here. Mattia, beautiful inside ball. Damien Willemse found the offload and neither man committed. I think Ruben van Heeren as well as Paul de Vet, neither of them really wanted it. I wonder how many Kiwis play in the URC Championship, etc. I think it's actually more this year than normal, because already in the games that we've watched today, we're seeing Josh Ioane, who is playing for Connacht at the moment. We have also seen Aidan Morgan get the chance for Ulster. So I feel like there's actually quite a few scattered throughout the teams, which is quite cool, because it's similar to the Japanese top league in a way, or the Gallagher Premiership, how if you are from New Zealand and you're watching a random late night game, it's quite cool picking up on players that you're like, oh, so that's what team he's gone to sign to. The only law should be added in World Cup finals as he had weapons for the last 10 minutes of the game. Says Grant. And excellent, says another person. That kick has gone over from the Stormers, though, taking the easy 3. And Mattia now makes it 10 points to 3 for the Stormers. Stormers, Damien Willemse, fan goes Stormers, and it's great to see him back. Like they mentioned, about a 4-month layoff for that man, away from rugby, having to rehab, try and get better, and be rearing to go for November. Got the waving from Robert. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well. And well done, Zus. It's our late dad's birthday today. Oh, we did it, Daddy, says Kirsten Zus. And there as well. Currently 12 minutes in. The Stormers, they will be hoping to add more for this South African streak, I guess you could say, that the Springboks and South Africa are on at the moment. Already 2 wins in the URC. Lillian Zus also scoring that first try of the contest for the Stormers. Might not be his last either. He's a dangerous ball runner out on the wing, Lillian Zus. Now big rolling maul coming from the Ospreys. Joseph De Weber, he has joined that illegally. So it is now going to make the score still the same, but the Ospreys trying to change that. Little kick in behind, and they'll go back for the penalty. If you choose to play quickly when awarded a penalty, you should lose the 10-metre advantage, says Clinton. Interesting law. I really am annoyed that I can't remember what my other one was, though. I can't remember if it was to do with the goal line dropouts or it was something anyway, but it was a decent one. It was probably about a year ago that I said it. But gone blank. Stormers will win. This one I'd say, says Yetta. So what do you think about Connacht versus Sharks? Do you think the Sharks can also win and make it 4 from 4 for South African sides? The numbers on the back for the Stormers should be black, not white, says Grant. I think it's that extra white stripe, isn't it, that makes it a little bit more difficult to read them. Like, they're all right up close, but as soon as they get further away, it's a bit of guesswork. Goes into it. Storm is almost able to steal that one with JD Stickling. His name I feel like I'm almost saying wrong on purpose at the moment, even though I don't mean to. Now to Ruben Morgan Williams. Still 20 metres out from the line for the Ospreys. And I have to say, it's impressive that they decided, Dewey Lake just sits it down on the turf with a knock on. I was about to say it's impressive that they decided not to go for the 3 points. Here comes Damien Valimza. Puts the kick in behind, looking for the 50-22. The ball is curling. It's only going to be a couple metres out from the line. Missing the tackle there was Sus, but Dan Duplessis manages to drag him down. Sharks are doing a lot of defending. They certainly are. Connacht are a side that if you give them a bit of early momentum, they will keep on attacking throughout a majority of the game. So you have to shut it down as early as possible. The Ospreys sitting 5 metres out from their line, rolling this one back. It is Ruben Morgan Williams. It's taken him a little while to get that one out, but he has booted it into touch and hasn't got a huge amount of distance on it either. This will put the pressure back on Ospreys to defend well in the next little moment. I've got their Stormers will win the URC this year, says Christina. It'll be interesting to see who actually is going to be in that top 8, just because the Sharks, in terms of their players on paper, they should be right up there. The Lions, they're one of those sides that maybe go a little bit underrated in terms of what they are able to do with the squad that they've got. The Bulls should be strong, but you just never know. And also with so many players away on international duty at times throughout the season, it will make it slightly more challenging, although that shouldn't be too much of a factor, I don't think, other than maybe the July internationals. No one cares about the Stormers B team playing against Connacht, says Grant there. And yeah, the Stormers, it's the big question mark of how are they going to go? Clean breaks, they've got 5-0 at the moment throughout the first 15 or so minutes. Now Joseph Dueba throws it in, although the referee will take them back. Okay, Andrew Brace has just warned Ruben van Heeren. He has pretty much said to him, hey, stop waiting so long to join the line out. Either get in or get out. Probably fair enough. A line out for Dweber. Okay, he's decided this time, Ruben van Heeren, that he is going to join the line out now. I feel like sometimes when I look at Ruben van Heeren, I see a very large version of Cobus Reinach. Does anyone else see that? Oh, that's going to be a knock-on from the Ospreys. Damien Valimza is back there to be able to cover. And they will now go back for the original knock-on. There's also going to be a scrum in the other game that has taken place between Connacht and the Sharks. This game actually slowly catching up on the clock. They were about a minute behind at the very start. Now only about 16 seconds or so between the two teams, with that one just being knocked down in the process of the tackle from Justin Tipperick. In fact, no, it might have actually been Tom Bota. "17 minutes in, just the one try for the Stormers. Of course, both of these sides will be chasing that bonus point, getting as many points as physically possible together throughout this competition, definitely in the early stages, to make it a bit easier on you as the competition does wear on. Seen 2 visits to the opposition, 22 for the Ospreys. They are yet to get themselves a try. If only the inflated Reinach could be as quick, but still the same size, says Grant. They have got a big advantage, 40 kgs in the forward pack here. So quite a lot chunkier, this forward pack of the Stormers. The Sharks struggling, a lot of heavy breathing and sweating, says Lilia B. I mean, they've been under the pump for the last 18 minutes. They have had the Connacht side right in their face the whole time. So that makes it relatively challenging. Whereas this game, Ospreys are actually the team who have been under more pressure. They are trying to deal with the attacking of the Stormers, who currently have a 7-point lead, but they're looking to add a few more points before half-time. Referee just asking for some more control when it comes to the scrum. Asking for a lot of control, by the sounds of it, reiterating it as well. I think Andrew Brace just pushed Setoli upwards a little bit more so that he wasn't so flat in the scrum, asking for them to stay there. Already gone down, and that will be the free kick to the Ospreys. Yeah, well, that's probably a little bit of a lucky one. Gareth Thomas getting the rub of the green there, per se. They're saying nettling for share is the reason he went down. A bird cannot fly when the wind is storming. Thanks, Kiwi lads. Nice commentating, says Alan there. And Connacht are 7 and the Sharks are 0. Exactly right. And mate, my hat goes off to you, says Chad. Yeah, the voice isn't doing too well at the moment, but hopefully we can still film a couple more videos later on today. Hopefully get a few hours sleep first, but we will see. Currently 19 minutes into this game. 1 try scored for Lilian Zas. That's the only one we've seen throughout this game. But Paul Davitt going back across to Mattia. Goes in behind to Lilian Zas. It's going to be wrestled down just inside of Stormers territory. Davitt wanting that ball. Justin Tuparik just making a nuisance of himself in the breakdown. For no reason whatsoever, really, just to be, well, a nuisance. But that's going to be knocked backwards by Jack Walsh, or is it? No, they call it as a knock-on. And it's going to be the advantage in their favour. JD Schnickerling was going through. There's no advantage, so they will go back for the original scrum. By the looks of it, the Sharks might almost have a chance at 3 here up against Connacht. And just another knock-on coming. This time from Jack Walsh. It's the first yawn of the live stream, I believe. That's actually quite impressive, seeing as it is 8 a.m. and we've been up all night. Now scrum feed again for the Stormers. We've seen quite a few of these scrums throughout this game. So far we've seen 2 tackles missed by the Stormers, but they've only had to make 13 tackles. Whereas the Ospreys have made 36. They have only missed the 5. So I think mathematically the Ospreys are actually tackling at a higher percentage. It's just the fact that they've had to make almost 3 times the tackles already. And we're only 20 minutes into the game. The Sharks have just scored with Andre Esterhuizen. Ladies and gentlemen, as well, we will update the score down the bottom of the screen in a very short moment, but they have been told to use it here. The Stormers, too much movement, and it's going to be a scrum reset. But it is off the rolling maul that the Sharks were able to score. Then the flat run from Andre Esterhuizen piercing through to the defensive line. Not sure who missed the tackle there. I think it was Josh Ioane, actually, who ended up missing it. But we'll wait to see whether or not that kick goes over before we do update the scoreboard. Okay, Andrew Brace is having to really give these 2 front rows a lecture about how to scrummage. Beautiful line run. Says Lilia B. Now Sia Masuku has that chance to line up the extra 2. I'm kind of enjoying multiple games happening at the same time. Not so much with the fact that we can't commentate them, but just being able to give updates of another game. It feels like it's kind of, you know, like we're being professional. Why is this ref refusing to give the Stormers a scrum penalty? Says Grant. Not too sure. He's talking about meeting halfway in the scrum and all of that. I thought the last one was going to be a scrum penalty to the Stormers. Now this one's gone in. Big push from the Stormers. That one's now going to be the penalty advantage. And they do get the penalty. Now I should mention that the Sharks have got themselves the 7 points now. The score in that contest, 7-all between Connacht and the Sharks. I feel like a lot of people possibly aren't watching the URC as well for today, or at least for this evening. I know there'll be a lot of people celebrating that Springboks win over the Pumas and themselves the Rugby Championship for the first time since 2019 under the belt. Yeah, that scrum just looks like it's going to be pretty strong for the Stormers throughout this game, similar to what we saw for the South Africans. I'm watching the Sharks game and listening to some Kiwi bloke commentary on the other What a Morning Says chat. It's certainly been a busy rugby day, hasn't it? Now, Yuri Matia, after that scrum penalty, will look to line up 3 points for the Stormers. Currently 22 minutes into this game. Shouldn't be too difficult from this far out. Not a lot of wind to deal with, and he's got the distance. That's going to make the score 13 points to 3. And how amazing was that South African game? Tell you what, the Springboks, they came back with a vengeance compared to last week. And yeah, just a really strong way close out the Rugby Championship, building momentum towards their November internationals. Now, going to be kicked off by Dan Edwards. The Boks winning the Rugby Championship is nice, but this is the most important game today. Says Grant, and that scrum, says Jad, yeah, looking very strong for the Stormers already. And I mean, when you talk about the Springboks as well, they had a strong scrum to suit. That's going to be a knock-on from Joseph Dweba, although they've said it's off the foot, but I believe it hit the foot, but it also did get partially knocked on first. Crowd not happy about it. Chasing this one, Hudson Berg taking the man out. It's going to be a penalty to the Ospreys. Unfortunately, Hudson Berg just committing a little bit too hard to that one. The Sharks have got the opportunity to add 3 points, and they have done just that with Jordan Hendrickse, the same way that he did it in the Currie Cup final only last week. But now the Sharks are leading that game 10 points to 7. Here we go. Little updates along the way. Why do our South Africans have such a strong scrum? I mean, you're not exactly small individuals in the forward backs. Like, there aren't many games where South Africa don't have a weight advantage at scrum time, but sometimes weight doesn't always equal success. It's just something that's been drilled into the South African players from a very young age, is if you're in that front row, you're scrummaging. And that's what you are going to get good at, you know. And then you got someone like an Ox Nashe who's like, but I want to run the ball. And they go, well, you can occasionally, but as long as you're doing the big scrums, that's the main thing. Here comes Dewey Lake breaking through 2 tackles here for the Ospreys. Back across to the right-hand side, Justin Tuparik. Back to the right. Quick hands from Edwards. And maybe all the Bryce. Says Dwayne there, and Salads don't win scrums, says Sean. Now to the left, Ratti. Across to Dewey Lake again. 6 phases in a row here. Morgan Williams. Goes to Kieran Williams. Doesn't seem like this defence is budging at the moment, but now getting the pass out wide, but more of an opportunity cutting back on the inside here. Watkin goes straight through, passes off to Morgan Williams, and he's going to be dragged down 1 metre short of the try line. Round the side, Jack Morgan gets over, and the Ospreys are back in the contest. Came at a very important time as well. The Stormers were just starting to get that momentum flowing. But Jack Morgan, a Welsh international, a phenomenal player. It's great to see him back. Quite a big injury, I believe, recently, Jack Morgan. And from a mistake from the Stormers. And from there, just a really good attacking run from Owen Watkin. Good to see Damien Valimza back on the park. Exactly right. That number 15 jersey is going to get more and more competitive for the Springboks as they head towards the November internationals, as well as next year's Rugby Championship. Sharks winning 10 points to 7. They certainly are. Although recently Connor just getting themselves the penalty by the looks of it. But the try scorer in that game, it was Andre Esterhuizen. For anyone wondering about the Sharks, we have got the scoreboard on the screen as well. Dan Edwards, they have decided that this one's going to be worth maybe the 7, if you can line it up sufficiently. And, ooh, a little bit of a late tail, but it just goes over. And now the score, 10 points to 13. Still in favour of the away side. Just a good offload. Quick hands from Tuperik to get it away. Then reaching out, Jack Morgan able to finish the job. Now kicking it off again, it will be Yuri Matia. To the 22, Justin Tuperik goes across to was Kieran Williams. And for this one, Morgan Williams will now roll it back into the pocket to Dan Edwards. Does boot that ball into touch, making sure it went out. This will be about 40 metres out from the line. Lorenzo Julius just got the Sharks within 5 metres, and they are extremely close to scoring themselves a try here. Wait to see exactly who it will be that crosses that try line, if they can do so. Well, we have got a stoppage in this contest. It's Andre Esterhuizen again, who got in for the Sharks. Looks like a little bit of an injury here for Kieran Williams. He's had a couple big carries already, but Andre Esterhuizen has 2 for the Sharks. And that's the type of thing that Rassie Erasmus will love to see. A guy who is in that Springbok squad, or at least has been in recent times, fully playing his best rugby. Can't stop the big centre, says Chad there. And try Sharks Andre Esterhuizen, says Lilia B in there as well. Yeah, just a nice attack and run down the wing from Lorenzo Julius. Within 5, and then from there, Esterhuizen. As soon as he was the target of the ball, it was always going to be hard to stop that man. Rassie does not rate Esterhuizen, that is true. So I feel like for Esterhuizen, he's kind of got to do, in a way, what, well, I was going to say what Hoskins Atutu has to try and do for the All Blacks, but the benefit that Andre Esterhuizen's had is he's at least had some minutes under Rassie Erasmus. Now Paul de Vet for the Stormers, back to this game for a second, 28 minutes into the contest, and they are going back to the right-hand side. Now Paul de Vet goes to Damien Willems, a nice inside ball, finds the hands of Marcel Tennyson. Schickerling getting closer as Super Sunny, still the best rugby, or Super Rugby, still the best rugby competition. Depends on who you ask, really. Like, for me, I watch the URC, I watch Super Rugby, I enjoy them both. They're both different in a good way. But, like, I wouldn't want to lose either of them. In terms of, like, if I was asked, you have to get rid of one of them, I wouldn't want to. It's going to be the penalty now going the way of the Stormers, I think. It looks like Tuperik thought he had a bit of an injury there for a second South African team. Off to a great start, says Tyrone. Exactly right. 17 points to 7. Favour of the Sharks at the moment. And then Stormers up by 3. Connor, don't get into that game soon. It could actually be that this game is the closer one of the two. Who has the best teams? Depends on, once again, who you ask. Depends on what you're basing it off. Because they're so different, once again. You know, we saw Crusaders versus Munster in pre-season. Both sides lacking the talent that they'd normally have. Munster not having their Six Nations players, Super Rugby players for the Crusaders pretty much all leaving. And we saw the season that the Crusaders had, and that was a close game going down to the wire. Then saying that, we just saw Munster get beaten by Zebra. So, you know, like, until we get a consistent competition that actually involves both sides, like, I feel like we can just both, like, different competitions, enjoy both of them for what they are. You know, and it's like all things. It's good to have competition. It's good to have, like, a different league that if certain teams in the URC or certain teams in Super Rugby are seeing those leagues and thinking they need to propel their game forward, like, that's a good thing. Bit of competitiveness. And no wet and raining makes the game dirty and tight. Says Tyrone in Glasgow, says Kerr. Of course, the defending champions of the URC. Hopefully we get to see them face the Blues, because that is what they did last year in terms of winner versus winner. So that would be pretty awesome if the Warriors go head-to-head with the Blues. We could see Tui Pelotu versus Tui Pelotu. Be quite cool. That's going to be kicked downfield. Nicely claimed by the Stormers just outside of their own half now. Williams, a big shot coming in on him. Doesn't link up with the pass. And the ball does go into touch. Bit of a miscommunication, it would seem, there for the Ospreys. Oh, sorry, for the Stormers, I should say. Kieran Williams still looks a little bit wobbly on his feet, I will say. He looks like he's struggling just a tad. It's a really ugly low tackle made on Damian Valimza as well in the process. Oh, playing the halfback there. Yeah, they have to give the penalty now. Ruben van Heeren having a bit of a brain fade there. Got away with it first of all, taking out Tipuric, but then was silly enough to still try and play the ball. Tipuric just being told you don't need to try and milk it. It's going to be for offside now. Ospreys will kick this one for the touchline again. 9 minutes remaining. Come on, inflated Reinach. Says Grant. But yeah, Tipuric, he definitely did get taken out, but he wasn't taken out as badly as he tried to make it look, I don't think. Whereas this game being played, it is an Ospreys home game, so it's happening in Wales. So 2 South African sides playing at home, 2 playing away from home. Oh, that's a good attack and run from Morgan Morris. A lot of Morgans in this side. There's a lot of Williams. How many Morgans have we got? We got Jack Morgan. You've got Ruben Morgan Williams. You've got Morgan Morris. You've got Luke Morgan. And then you've got Morgan Williams. You've got Kieran Williams. Nice double-ups into this Welsh side. I think we can all agree that the Tasman Mako are the best rugby club in the world. Fins up. Says Chad there. And so Hamish, what did you think of the South Africa versus Argentina game? Runaway game in the end, says Xander. Yeah, very strong performance from the South Africans. And that's a really good kick from Jordan Hendrickson. Sorry for getting distracted, but he has just nailed one from like 58 metres out like it's just for fun. That man's definitely a future option for the Springboks when it comes to that kick and tee. And why did the red card only last 20 minutes? Because that is the rule of the Rugby Championship. It's just the fact that we haven't had too many red cards. In fact, I think that was almost the first red card we've had that no one actually knew that it was a 20-minute red card. Thoughts on the Munster result? First defeat from the Italian side in 13 years? Yeah, definitely not the game that Munster were after. He is a freak, says Chad. But yeah, it'll be interesting because I feel like most teams have that one bad game in the URC, and normally, it's up against a side that you shouldn't be beaten by. 63 metres, says Lilia B there. It looks like they're going to have another chance to score out wide. Keita just put it into touch, never mind. It's going to be kicked high by the Ospreys, claimed by Damian Valimza at the back. Looks like the Ospreys trying to get that turnover in the breakdown, but losing their footing. Now off to the right. In fact, the left, little chip in behind from Matia. Sits straight back up for the Ospreys. It seems like the Stormers are very keen to give away possession, unfortunately, throughout this game. Now kicking downfield, Edwards looking for the 50-22. The bounce of the ball works out not too badly for him, but it is just outside of the 20. So yellow card equals 10 minutes, and red card equals 20 minutes, says Xander. Pretty much, yeah. So it's a rule that they have trialled in certain competitions, and it's something that they decided was going to be the case for the Rugby Championship. Tackles made at the moment. Percentage 76 for the Stormers, 88 for the Ospreys. Will that be the kickstart for Zebre that leads to a better season this year, or will it spur on other teams to not suffer the same fate and steamroll Zebre? That's the thing though, like Zebra last year, I'm trying to remember the table. Did they get any wins? Because I think they were close and they had a draw or two, but I can't remember if they actually won any games in the last season. In fact, no, they might have won one and then got a whole heap of bonus points, red card 20 minutes, but a new player has to come onto the field. Am I correct? Yep, exactly right. I hope the 20-minute red card does not become a thing, says Grant. On the halfway line at the moment for the Ospreys, only 5 minutes remaining in this first half, still close between these teams, and the Sharks have scored again. And it's Gurbrand Hrubala, the newly trimmed Gurbrand Hrubala by the looks of it. This is domination from a Sharks side that were $3 underdogs going into that game. I didn't understand why. I hope that's the first win in 15 games, says Kerr. And we're to watch URC match on YouTube. Sadly, they don't have them on YouTube. If you're in New Zealand, it's on TVNZ+. URC TV is also another option that you can look at. Well, I think they might be trying to rule out this Gurbrand Hrubala try. Maybe trying to say that there was a player in front. Oh, no. They're going to say it stands. The Sharks have found their mojo. Oh, no, hang on. They are going upstairs for that one, but Joseph DeWeber now to throw this ball in. We've already had, I think that's his 17 lineouts throughout this game, which is pretty impressive. Dan Duplessis, once again, making a few extra meters here for the Stormers. I'd love a try before the halftime break. But Mattia again decides to kick it high. Waiting for that one to come down, Lilian Zas. In fact, it was Hudsonberg this time. Can't quite get it. Jack Walsh having to play halfback. Goes across to Adam Beard. I think that's actually his first carry of this match, if I'm correct. Being told to use it now. Morgan Williams does a boot at high, being chased hard here by Conbeer. Makes some good ground, but can't quite get under the high ball. Over it there for the Ospreys, and the steal and the penalty going their way. Do they want 3 or do they want 7? That's the decision that the Ospreys have to make. In my opinion, we're early on in the URC season. I think they go for the corner. Try and put that pressure on. And at the end of the day, if you're able to get those tries, they have decided to go for the 3 points, ladies and gentlemen. I don't actually think this is that easy of a kick from the angle, although so far, I just have a glitch. I just said the same thing twice. But Dan Edwards has been kicking pretty well throughout this match. Right, the try, I believe, stands for Gurbrand Hrubala. The Sharks now have got themselves a 25 points to 7 lead over Connacht. And once again, a side that were big underdogs going into that game. I couldn't quite believe it. Try is good, says Lilia B. And wakey, Hamish, don't sleep, says Darren. But lining up this kick now, it will be just inside the post. So they get the 3 for it. And that is going to make the score now 13 points to 13 just before the halftime break. Only 90 seconds remaining here. Sia Masuku is taking his time with this kick, having a big chat to the water boy. I'm not sure what's happening in that game. I feel like that's just using up as much of the clock as they can. Not the way to end the half, says Grant. Well, there is still just enough time. Maybe they can get one more. Rolling it back again. It will be Morgan Williams. Only 50 seconds left now. Kicked high. And it does go into touch. Some really good kicking coming from the 9. Sia Masuku does get it over. So that makes the score 27 points to 7 for the Sharks at halftime. They have been, like I said, dominant throughout that contest, doing extremely well. Getting ready to line this one up for the line out here. Joseph Dweber, 20 seconds left in this first half. And he does throw it in, nicely taken by Ruben van Heeren. Only 10 seconds remaining of the half now with Joseph Dweba hanging on to this ball at the back. I'm being told to use it again here. Flicks it out the back door, Dweba. Oh, the Stormers, they look like they wanted to kick that one into touch, but then David Ewers has decided instead they will actually have a bit of a run. Now, nice run from Paul de Vet. Finds the offload up to Ruben van Jaren Mathieu. Sells the dummy and then is shut down by the Ospreys, but they give away the penalty, which will then result in 3 points, I would think, right at the end of this half, going in favour of the Stormers. So that should give them their halftime lead back that they were very close to having for conceding that last penalty. Now Mathieu, ready to boot this one towards the posts. Got plenty of time to be able to take it. But so far, a very even first half. It has been the closer of the two games have been taking place at the same time. But either way, both South African sides, unless this kick goes horribly wrong, are going to be in the lead at halftime. Yuri Mathieu, I don't think he'll have to take too long to line up this kick. Straight out in front of the posts. He's looking at the shot clock here. I don't think he realised it was actually half-time. But Mathieu does get it over. And at half-time in this contest, 16 points to 13 in favour of the Stormers. I just mentioned there that the Ospreys, the only entry into the 22, they have been able to score off, take the 3 points. Says Grant, yep, that's a good move at the end of the half. 29 points in total throughout the first 40 minutes, 16 of them going the way of the Stormers. The other 13, the Ospreys, have done well. Just one try for both of these sides. Leleon Zas scoring it for the Stormers. And the try coming for the Ospreys with Jack Morgan. If you have money, which team are you backing to win the championship? Says Darren. I really don't know this year. Like, I want to say that it's closer this year than it was last year, but last year was pretty close. Like, all of those top sides pretty much were determined in the last week of who was going to be making it through as a home finalist and who was going to be the away team. So, like, that's the, I guess, the positive of the URC, because there are 16 teams, some of them have to be close. And we saw that when it came to the top 8, going right down to the wire. The Sharks, says Tyrone. I mean, from this game up against Connacht, they have certainly looked the goods. 2 tries for Andre Estes and 1 for Gerbrand Robla. I think there was one other as well. Or maybe not. No, actually, I think they took the 2 3-pointers alongside the tries. But that's something that the Sharks have got really strong this year, is their kicking game. Because they've got Sia Masuku, who can line up kicks and normally kicks at a very high accuracy. And then alongside that, we see Jordan Hendrickse, who's able to kick them from over 50 metres out without much problem at all. It pains me to say it, but the Mutants from Pretoria look very strong this season, says Grant. Yeah, second half, we won't be too far away from it getting underway, ladies and gents. But do let me know, of the games, I was going to say of the games we've seen today, which is your favourite? But I feel like there's going to be some pretty obvious answers in that regard, unless there are Lions supporters around. I see the Sharks are 27-7. Front against Connacht, says Amone Lagrange. They are indeed. Andre Estes and getting 2. Gerbrand Robla getting the other. Just showing that highlight of Leleon Zas, the only try scorer for the Stormers in that first half. I think we're hearing the English commentary on one ear and the Afrikaans commentary in the other, which has been confusing. If the Stormers win, then this is the best game today, says Grant. And I think that this one's certainly going to be closer than the Sharks game. And that's the funny thing. The Sharks, in terms of the betting odds, were huge underdogs. And these two sides were expected to be very close. Ospreys having that home field advantage, Stormers, this being their first game of the URC competition. But, you know, you're in that scenario of the Sharks have probably outperformed themselves in a way. We will quickly, while we are at it, we might as well look through at what is happening next week in the URC. Now, I will mention next weekend, I don't think I'll have as many streams, unfortunately, as we have over the last few weeks. That is mainly because I will be on holiday, but I'm still going to try and do at least 1 or 2 streams from the hotel I think I will be in at that time, but hopefully I don't get told to shut up too much from, like, other residents of said hotel. But yeah, next week, there's going to be Lions versus Edinburgh. That one is on Sunday. So the time zone that I'm going into, that will actually be a 10:45 p.m. kickoff for myself. The Bulls versus Ulster. That is going to be at 3 a.m. New Zealand time. So that is 4 p.m. Who approved this leave? I don't know how I got it past the Kiwi Lads channel. And did South Africa win? Your level of commitment is incredible, says Kerr. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying I'm going to try and do them, but then saying that if the Wi-Fi is absolutely awful and, like, it just has technical difficulties, I might have to miss a week, which would be really weird, because I don't think we've missed a week in a very long time, other than, of course, when there haven't really been games on. Or maybe the Springboks performance is a factor. Says Stan there, and the Bulls versus Ulster big game. Says Darren, yep, so that one is going to be, hopefully, one that we can do. I don't think I'll get to do Dragons versus Sharks. And I don't know if I'll get to do Zebre versus Stormers. So I feel like those first two that I mentioned are the most likely for next weekend. Alongside still doing videos along the way. I'm hoping to film a lot of those before I go so that I can edit them throughout the holiday. While also, of course, being on holiday every once in a while. The match is way too tight for my liking. Stormers hopefully better in the second half. If you work on the holiday, does it become a tax write-off? I have no idea, to be honest. I might be able to get away with it. I think they're still finding their rhythm, so no excuses in the second half, says Clinton. And hello from Ireland, Padraig O'Brien. Yeah, how you doing, lads? Hamish, says Padraig. Doing pretty well. Hamish, you look tired. I have been up for a long time, so that's probably understandable. We are up to our probably 10th hour of commentary now for the day. The vocal cords, they sounded a bit rough at the start of the stream. They started warming up now, so that is good. But yeah, in terms of the games that are happening next week, I think of those games, sadly, I may only be able to cover Dragons versus Lions because I believe I'm on a plane for some of the time that the match is taking place. I love your work, bro. Keep it up. Says Stan, what positives do you take from the All Blacks this season? I should say thank you very much, Stan. Sorry for kind of brushing over that one. We've got plenty more coming up in the near future. A keen supporter from Cape Town. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to cover plenty of Stormers games throughout the season. So please tell me, Hamish, where is Kerr these days? That's a great question, Mornay. Here. He's the comment right after you. I'm disappointed. I've never seen a show the game comment yet. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a big difference, isn't it? Like, we constantly get them on the international games. This one, we've had one person ask where to watch it, and that's fair enough, because, once again, hard to find the game sometimes. 10 hours, bro. We love our rugby in South Africa, but damn, says Stan, planes have Wi-Fi. Yeah, I feel like the thing is, it's a plane ride that's like 4 hours, so that's enough time to get a video done, isn't it? Possibly get something going. It's just more so I have to make sure that if I'm going to film videos early, I don't then edit them early and then release them before I actually go. Because if I do that, then I have nothing to put out there. You deserve a break after keeping thousands of people happy with YouTube and videos, says Clinton there. But yeah, we'll be interested to see how the second half goes, whether or not the eyes do stay as open as they were during the first. Looks like the Stormers game, they are probably about a minute or so behind the Sharks in terms of when their second half is going to start up. That is just due to that Yuri Mutia kick taking a little bit longer to take for halftime in this contest. 16 points to 13. Sharks 27 to 7. Yeah, it will be interesting to see if they can up the tempo, I would say, the Stormers, because I feel like they were in slightly, I don't want to say cruise control, but they didn't really, up it to that next level, unfortunately. Oh, there's my dad. He's going to golf, fun fact. Hopefully he plays all right. I need a disclaimer for the broadcast rights explanation. The thing is, though, I feel like when we show that we can't show the game and we write that, we actually get more questions about it, which is quite surprising. It's like the whole situation of, even having the Sharks versus Connard's scoreboard on the screen and then also letting you know who's scoring the tries. People will still tell us what the score is in that game. And you're a G, says Stan, and you're the GOAT, my friend. Fine well. We all want to see a video or two of your holiday, and every regular here would agree. You just deserve some time, a bit of time to chill out, or a bit of me time. Good morning, Uncle Hamish's dad. And do you think the Sharks would be better with Sia? I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because last time Sia Khaleesi went back into the Sharks, he didn't really find his best performances. And it's hard for the Sharks because they've got so many top-level players that come back in and then they straight away give them the starting spots, whereas some of these guys throughout the season actually, I think, are the better options. I hope you wear a tie to promote the channel on your travels, though, says Kerr. I've still got the Kiwi Lads shirt that you to give me. I have to work out what else I can do in terms of a tie. I've got the cap as well. Hi, Dad, says Lillian. And there as well, he has already left, fun fact. He was pretty much saying hello and then straight out the door, head into golf. 2-day tournament, second day of it. He didn't go that well on the first day, I will say, unfortunately. I don't know why I've got a pen today, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, it looks like Connard versus the Sharks is just about to get back underway for their second half. Stormers versus Ospreys. We are yet to see the sides make their way back out of the tunnel, but hopefully we're only like 1 or 2 minutes away from seeing them return and getting rearing to go for the second half. But they are playing a little bit of AC/DC, thunderstruck around the ground. I'm hoping to go to a Sheffield Shield game, by the way, ladies and gents. I don't know why, but I like going to random cricket games that are taking place. Go the Sharks, there's Rajin. But I don't think there's any rugby on while I'm over there. I agree with you. I would see it, but I'm glad South African teams are proving they are worthy of being in the URC, says Stan. Yeah, I think they've well and truly proved that this is the league that they can be competitive in. And, it's going to be interesting. See who's actually in the top 8 this year because there's so many good sides. And we've seen upsets already, but it looks like now the Stormers making their way back out onto the field. I'm excited. When are you coming over? Are we talking about Australia or are we talking about further? Because Australia, I leave here on Thursday. So I've got maybe, I want to say 3 solid days of almost being awake, like without too much sleep involved, that I can actually get a lot done to write down new laws before you forget, says Clinton. And 40 minutes till you get some sleep, says Craig. Although I think I'm only going to get like 2 hours sleep because then I have to be up because we're going shopping. I'm going with my mum because I think we need to get a suitcase for the holiday. So I'll probably fall asleep in the car. Luckily, I'm not driving though, so that's good news. And Paul Planning should have left Monday morning. I mean, back in time for Friday night games. Yeah, see, I didn't book the tickets. I was just told what the plan was, you see, so I didn't get much of a say in it, sadly. Hi, Connard 14, Sharks 50, says Eddie. Would be an impressive one. We need a big squad because of all the travelling, different competitions and the necessary squad rotation. Do welcome back, Sia. Says Sharky. Good to see you there. It's going to be kicked off by the Ospreys and we are back underway for the second half of this game in the URC. Ruanel claiming that kickoff for the Stormers. Rolling it back to Joseph Dweber on this left-hand side. Looks like Ruanel, there's actually an injury here for Adam Beard. Looks like some sort of knee injury. How far do you have to drive to buy a suitcase? We're driving 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. got to remember, we're from a small town, so the supermarket does not sell suitcases, unfortunately. So, yeah, she's a 30-minute travel trip that way, and then 30 minutes back as well. We have got hi from Bradley Cohen. Thank you very much, mate. We've got a donation from Kerr as well. Holiday enjoyment. Not to be put back into the channel, says Kerr. Thank you very much. I have to try and make a decision of what we're actually going to do while we're over there. But that can go towards... They have McDonald's breakfast open till 11:30 over in Australia, so that's a bit of excitement. And also a bit of excitement is Conard managing to get themselves a second try in this contest up against the Sharks. But we are still waiting for the scrum feed here to go shopping after church, or you'll miss it. Sounds a bit like Nelson, says Chad. And also, it is in our time zone, don't get me wrong. We were in Super Rugby, it was amazing. But now I can watch most URC games without waking up early on a Friday. And at work, it is awesome, says Stan. But yeah, thank you very much for your generosity there, Kerr. I am very, I'm not that surprised, because I was going to say I'm surprised there wasn't a hippo in it, but then I realized you can't do a comment as in like a message alongside the hippo. I think it's just that you can only do a sticker. This scrum reset's taken 4 minutes. It hasn't actually. Bloody feels like it though, but I should update the score between the Conard side and the Sharks, scoring early in the second half. Number 12, that is not Bundyaki for Conard. One moment, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. 14 points to 27, the comeback is on. And then another game. This scrum is still taking place. Get it in. One try apiece for both of these sides. Right, the ball has finally been fed. Oh, it's a penalty to the Stormers. Please don't choose the scrum. I think they will instead, though, kick downfield. Going to be a collapsing scrum penalty going against Tom Bota in that one. Just going straight down up against Sitoli. I feel like I'm multitasking upon multitasking at the moment. We are watching not just one game, we are watching two, and also still reading the chat. Hi, says Bradley. And I did read out that, didn't I, Bradley? Hope you are keeping well. Do let me know your score prediction, Bradley, for this game. I should say. Get it in. Title of Hamish's sex tape. It's not a live stream without one of those, isn't it? Exactly. It's important to enjoy that donation. I know you put everything back into the channel, but you deserve to enjoy the rewards of your efforts, says Kerr. I like how the first thing I thought of, though, for I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna go to McDonald's as my big thing. I haven't really... I mean, eventually, I know that people have been giving me a lot of stick about my phone. I feel like I was thinking about trying to get a phone in Australia, maybe, just because you can get it back, like, in terms of the tax. They give it back to you at the airport. I don't know how it works, but I did it when I got an iPad a while ago. So I might try and get a phone in Australia, possibly. But I'm not sure whether that's a good idea, because then I will have no money. So it's a decision to make. If you had the choice, which game would you attend in South Africa, New Zealand, and Ellis Park or Cape Town? Ooh. I mean, I like the look of Ellis Park, but I feel like Cape Town's just a really good, like, vibe in terms of where they are around the ground. I'm watching the Sharks game on another channel. It's hopeless, says Regine. And scrum will be over by the time you come back from your holiday, says Chad. And that is a very good tackle coming in from the Ospreys defence. You need an assistance commentator for travel purposes or to tag team so you can get some sleep during these tournaments. You are doing great, says Lillian. I mean, I could try and convince someone. Oh, drop kick attempted here from Valimza. And he's got it over. One way of doing it. 19 points to 13. Kellogg's coffee and rugby will never be as lekker as a Brian and rugby, says WLK. Bundyaki officially become an Irish citizen a few days ago, says Richard, and good drop, says Grant. And yeah, just gives them that 6-point lead now. And that little bit further ahead. Currently the Sharks are up by 13 as well in the other contests. But Osprey kicking off long. Dan Duplessis passes across to Yuri Matia. And he does once again get that ball into touch. Now, it's not that far down the field either. So Ospreys have a good chance on attack. And bro, come to Cape Town with egg chasers. You'll be the GOAT. Lol, says Stan. See, one day I wouldn't mind heading to South Africa. I just don't think it will be soon. Who's your favourite commentator and who made you want to become a commentator, says Xandor. Or Xander, I should say. If I'm being honest, I don't really know if I have like a favourite commentator. Like, I think it's Tony Johnson commentates the NPC games here in New Zealand, and he's quite good. Like, Grant Nisbet, of course, you hear quite a bit of as well. But in terms of who made you want to become a commentator, it was just one comment on a YouTube video when we were doing Rugby Challenge. We did a live stream, I think, and someone was like, you should do a commentary for a rugby match. And I was like, all right. And I said like 5 words throughout the live stream. And then from there, we've done like 1,500 streams since then. That's how it started. Not Cape Town tonight, pouring down here, says Bruce. Now going off to the left-hand side, Ospreys once again are on attack. They have to score soon if they want any chance of coming back in the game. And that was a knock-on. The referee says, you know what? We'll let it go. I was actually going to ask where the Rugby Challenge videos have gone, says Kerr. You see, I'd like to bring them back. I feel like I'm waiting just a little bit longer until Rugby 25 gets a couple more big updates. And then once they add the Springboks and the All Blacks, I feel like that will open up being able to do a lot more videos on that game. Like, because just at the moment, they haven't got too many of the licensing side of things actually confirmed, or at least put into the game. But I feel like I'd like to do some Rugby 25 once it hits that stage of having licensed competitions and licensed teams. And where is George? George still exists. We actually have been filming quite a bit for the Kiwi Lads Entertainment channel. I think it's still called that anyway. But yeah, we've been reacting to scary ghost videos, which is really not a good idea because I'm not the biggest fan of jump scares. And we get jump scared about every single clip that we have watched. But yeah, Entertainment channel, we still have videos going out consistently throughout the last few months, about 2 or 3 a week. And yeah, you'll see us getting scared by ghosts. You'll give other commentators a run for their money, says Reggie. And True Bruce reigning in Cape Town, but we also reign brandy and coke, says Stan. Just driving into touch there. Bit of work from David Ewers. Now, do we like George still exists? Weird way of phrasing that. I feel like it's a very me way of describing it, though. Like, he still comes round often. You know, we filmed on... What day is it? We're Sunday now in New Zealand. We filmed on Thursday. I think it was. Yeah, it was, because I had just finished doing the All Blacks lineup video, and then George messaged and said, I'm going to come around and we're going to film. So we did. Now around the side, Morgan Williams scores the try for the Ospreys, and with a kick to come, this could give them the lead. Connard have scored again. It's the comeback of the Northern Hemisphere, by the looks of it, across both games. If the Sharks somehow blow a 20-point lead, that would be quite bad. But then saying that, that's just normal now for rugby, the fact that it goes back and forth. Thanks for the awesome coverage today. I'm off to bed. I have a 21k run tomorrow. Good night. What makes you want to run 21ks, Regine? Out of curiosity, obviously you're quite fit if you're able to run that far, but it just seems like a bit excessive, doesn't it, in terms of the distance? What is your prediction for the URC? The overall outcome, I think we're going to see a South African side in the final. I just haven't decided which South African side that is yet. And come on, Sharks, pull it together, says Lillian Hicks. This game, Ospreys have a chance to take the lead. I mean, first, second, and third. That's the tricky part, though. I haven't fully decided. And I know that, we don't, we have plenty of time, right? But, I'm going to say Leinster are top 3. I'm going to say that one of the South African sides are also top 3. And then I'd like to see Glasgow back up what they did last year. And that's not just because Kerr's in the chat. I just think they're pretty good side. Although, you know, there are a few other sides that are pushing for this season. Come on, the Stormers. Here's Christina. What's the purpose of a run? Says Kerr. I'm an ultra distance runner. I love it. Says Regine. I actually went on a treadmill last week. Multiple times, which is a bit weird. The cricket season's starting up soon, and I realised I have no fitness. And also, I'm going to Australia, and I haven't done anything to get remotely into fitness shape for that trip. Now, passing it out wide for the Ospreys. They are currently up by the 1 point here. Now, passing back across, it will be Ruben Morgan Williams. Going to the right-hand side. Passing across to Dewey Lake. Oh, that was head on head. I'm not too sure who that was. I think it was Nedeling Foucher, but he took a bit of a knock to the noggin. Did he switch the treadmill on? Or just easing into it? Says I decided that I could stand on it for a while, but the only way to actually get it going, you know, I had to turn it on a little bit, which I don't know why, because I like to avoid running. I raise funds for charity while I enjoy running. That's actually a really nice thing to do. And if you have that ability of running that far, then fair play. Like, I think I did 3Ks on the treadmill the other day, walking, and I was like, nah, not for me, thank you. I'm back across to the right-hand side now. Behind Justin Tipperick, I tried running. Did 1.7K, almost vomited, says Chad. A nice Regine, and how does Willemse look at 15 today? He's bot game back yet. I think he's looked all right, but at the moment, the way that Upper Lelefasi is playing, he's probably going to get that 15 jersey for a little while. I love that. Do you think South African sides in URC has helped rugby in the Northern Hemisphere, says Stan? I would say yes, to a certain extent. It's given them something different. Oh, drop kick here from the Ospreys. They've decided if the Stormers are doing it, we can do it too, and he's got it over. Connacht have scored again. What has happened to the Sharks? They've disappeared in the second half. Sounds like my wife, says Craig Miles. I'm not too sure what that one was in regards to. But Connacht are now 24-27. This is a massive comeback. Thanks, Kerr, says Regine. But yeah, great bit of work from Connacht. They're going to be 26 points to 27 down. They would have almost been out of this game as well, by the way, in terms of like the betting odds and everything along those lines. They would have been $20, $40, $50 underdogs. And they've come back. Speaking of comebacks, the Ospreys are now in the lead. The dislike of running. Yes. Running's one of those ones that if you like it, you really like it. And if you don't like it, you really don't like it. You know, like there's not really an in-between. Like there's not many people who say, oh, I tolerate running. It's either, oh yeah, I've got to get out there, I've got to get my Ks in, or it's the ones who say, running seems excessive, you know? I feel like I fall into the second, but I know that running's good, it's just I don't have the knees for it. I know that eventually one of my knees is going to fall in half, and I won't be able to run. Nice close games for you to watch and commentate on, says Ethan, exactly right. I love a close fixture, and that is a good kick downfield from the Stormers for that cross kick, but Lelian Zas, in fact, it was Hudsonberg, just couldn't quite bring it in. Let's not forget Sharks finished third from the bottom last year. That's true. They've got a lot of talent, though. Like, for a side that had the squad that they had, they shouldn't have finished as low as they did. That was almost a sentence, but I hope you know what I meant. You will never beat the Irish, lol, says Richard there. Says Cox. 26 minutes remaining. The Ospreys are 2 away from getting themselves the bonus point in terms of the try tally. And running messes up your knees and hips in the long run. Walking is good, says Albert. See, I was getting into some last week, that is, for 2 days. I got onto a little bit of incline walking, up a incline, as they say. Only reason to run, Are we not playing a sport as if you're being chased by an animal or the police? Says Grant, and come on boys, do it, says Bernard. Now Ospreys getting themselves a little bit more position here, much needed after that first half where they weren't really able to do too much. That's going to be a kick that's gone a little bit too big, and it rolls dead, so they will go all the way back. Hi Hamish, why run if nobody is chasing you? I like that mindset, Giovanni. I really like that. And 15-star players don't make a team. Often lower quality players that work well together is better than 16 stars. That is true, because we saw that last year for the Sharks, how they had all those great players back and they were losing big games. Preach Grant, spitting straight facts. Sharks need to pull their socks up, says Lilia B. I don't know why I felt the need to look at my socks. My socks aren't very long, so I don't think I could pull them up that much. 57 minutes through in that game, and it is 27-26. In this contest, we are 55 minutes in, and it is 23-19. Two very good games so far in terms of closeness, even though one of them looked like it was going to be extremely one-sided at halftime. I agree, running impacts the body. You have to listen to your body, says Regine. See, like, when I try and run, my body tells me to stop. And that's it. So I listen to it. But, like, fair play for being able to run that far. And also fair play for doing it for, like, good reasons in terms of raising money for charity as well. That is going to be the penalty to the Ospreys. The momentum has shifted big time in this game. Tom Bota. Let's get the penalty in his favour. Come on, the Stormers, says Giovanni there. Not driving straight. Scrums have been really ugly in this game, I will say. Like, we haven't really seen a clean scrum that often at all throughout the first 56 minutes. The Ospreys, they will put it into touch. This will be around the halfway line. Looks like there is just about to be a sub. In fact, there might be a double sub coming up here for the Ospreys. I thought that was Jack Morgan actually on the sideline. Dewey Lake ready to throw this ball in. And away games from the Stormers, man, continues diabolical. Ospreys are a crap team, man. How are we even going to compete with the better Northern Hemisphere team when playing away? Says Ethan. Couple more changes being made. I see Jack Morgan returning back out onto the field. That is for Deves. So he did go off originally for the head injury assessment, the HIA, but he has been cleared to continue. Box number one again, they are not, believe it or not, because they were up against Argentina, who have less than 7 points, or they are lower than 7 points below the Springboks. It means that the Springboks didn't get any points at all for their victory over Argentina, even though Argentina are ranked about 6th at the moment. So, you know, it's one of those ones that sometimes the system seems against top teams. Then at other times it seems like it's beneficial. That was kicked out on the full from the Ospreys. So once again, we will see another line out. This game has been one of set piece, ladies and gentlemen. Scrums, line outs, you name it, we've seen it. Now Andre Hugo Fenta. About to have those line out throw. World ranking system sucks. Says Cassium there. Going to be nicely taken on the halfway line. Or Marcel Dennison. In fact, that time it was JD Schickling. Now Paul Davet goes across to Dan Duplessis. In our hearts and in a number of Rugby World Cups, Boxer number one. So yes, says Ethan. Oh, kicked out on the full now from the Stormers. Guess what? We get another scrum or line out. I think it's going to be a line out actually. And exactly, Connacht and Ospreys have for several years been bottom half of the table teams. This should be all rights by a walk, or should by all rights be a walk in the park, on paper at least, says Kerr. But that's the thing, sometimes, like, it just doesn't work, does it? Like, Sharks had Connacht backs against the wall. But now, like, they're just making too many mistakes. I've just seen their Sia Masuku kick for the corner and ended up kicking it dead instead. Oh, that was very close to not being dead, though. To be fair, half-time. Says Cox in there, and Barcelona is 0. Osasuna is 2. Who is Osasuna? I don't think I've heard of Osasuna. And world rankings are okay. What counts? Trophies in the cabinet. Says Giovanni. Well, it's going to be lost by the Stormers. So again, Ospreys are in possession. Morgan Williams goes across to the right-hand side in case I fall asleep before the end of the game. Thanks for the commentary. Been a long day. Says Bruce. Stolen there for the Stormers. Duplessis gets it away to Ruan. Now he throws the big offload, hoping to find a teammate, and they've somehow almost kept that ball alive. To be fair, the Sharks don't have their box, do they? Wasn't expecting a win really for the Sharks, says Ethan. I kind of was. To be honest, like, they just won the Curry Cup and they look good doing it without their Springboks. So I thought that this was going to be a game where they were able to really compete. Hamish, how many members your podcast on now? Keep it up, my brother, says Cassie. And we've gained quite a few recently, which reminds me that I do need to try and get a couple more channel emojis done so that they have a few more options in the chat. And Bulls are serious contenders in the URC. The other South African sides have a bit to learn, says Kerr. And see doing a money, says Lilia. Spanish Football Club, been around in a while for La Liga. Osasuna. I feel like I've probably seen their logo, but I haven't actually seen them, if that makes sense. Connor Galway, tough conditions, tougher team than the Ospreys. Curry Cup man. There's a feeder academy tournament these days, says Ethan there. I still think they should have won, or they should win that game, if I'm being honest. You know, like, you can't go up 27 points to 7 and then give away a game. The Sharks giving the game away, says Dominique in there. Yeah, like, they did all the hard work. They just haven't done the rest. The last 20 minutes is going to have to be a big one. And that is the case for this contest as well. Like I said, we had a lot of scrums, a lot of lineouts. Throughout this match, Andre Hugo Fenta fires the ball in. Now Paul de Vet cross to Dan Duplessis in the middle of the field. Morabe off the back. After being 27 up, agreed. I should close it out. I was meaning pre-game my expectations, says Ethan there. And even at the start of that game, they were actually $3 underdogs, the Sharks. So the odds makers didn't really give them much of a shot of winning it either. This game, on the other hand, very close in the betting odds. Right down the line. Now going back across to the right-hand side. Bounce pass. Not working out, the Ospreys. I think there was a knock-on there from the Stormers. They're going to play on. Yes, they are. Okay. No, now they are going back for that knock-on. Crowd are happy about it as well. Which means we get another scrum. Why so many? Unfortunately, this whole game, well, not this whole game, I don't want to be too critical, but man, we've had a few of them. You know, I don't think we've had a lack of scrums and a lack of lineouts. I think it's a bit the other way around. In fact, we're going to look it up. URC, what we got in terms of the match centre. Stormers can win, says Dominic. They certainly can. They're still within the 7. They've still got time left. See whether or not they can close out the game. Right, Stormers, Ospreys. What do we got in terms of the stats? So far, kicking, penalties, players. Oh, do they not give us... I don't think they actually give us the scrum numbers and the line-out numbers. That's probably a good thing, to be fair, because we've just had another scrum reset. Looks like the scrums have just had a really tough time. What did you think of the Lions game? Thought very strong performance from the Lions in that contest. Exactly what they wanted to do at the start of their season. And taking down Ulster, who did beat a certain strong side the week prior. We won't name and shame them, but they should have got that win. The Warriors. Now, another scrum feed here. Feeding the ball in. Ospreys in position. Morgan Williams fires it back. It looks like they will go for the kicking game. Looking for the 50-22. Got a good kick on it. Into the 22. Damien Valimza is there. And ready to fire back. The amount of set pieces is definitely different to Super Rugby. So here's not your everyday culture. Time advantage is just crazy in the URC. So here's Ethan. I see Ireland is the highest ranking in the world. And there is a -1 next to the box on the World Rugby website. Obviously, it needs to be updated. Rankings are weird. But yeah, believe it or not, South Africa will stay in second at this stage. And until November, that is where they will remain. And maybe they will stay in second throughout November. It's very hard to tell, but there's a good chance that South Africa bump themselves back up a little bit. But then saying that, in terms of the teams that they are facing, they have to rely on Ireland losing rather than themselves winning. But they, of course, still need the wins. Beautiful work from Morgan Williams. That is try of the season so far, or at least it's got to be up there, because they have just gone straight through the middle and got a brilliant try for the Ospreys. Morgan Williams, the chip in behind to then regather, find the offload as he's going to ground. Some sensational ball handling skills. The top four of the URC is almost always decided by bonus points. It is critical to get a bonus point and deny the losing bonus point. Says Kieran, well, what a try. But yeah, off the line out on the halfway line. Morgan Williams goes through, does the chip in behind, waits for the bounce of the ball, gets it, and offloads it on the inside. Clean as a whistle. Yeah, sounds about right, Kerr. Still annoying to be happy with the losing bonus point to a team like the Ospreys. Says Ethan, well, that's probably the game. Says not your everyday cultist, and too bad for the Stormers, although we should mention it's not over yet. It doesn't help them in the overall chance of winning this game, but it is not over yet. Rugby is a weird game. Every once in a while, you see just try after try, and there are still 15 minutes. Who else does Stormers have in the Northern Hemisphere leg? Says Ethan. So their game next week, they are going to be playing, I believe, they've got Edinburgh in 13 days' time. And then their game next weekend, they are playing Zebra. Or Zebre, I should say. Side that, just actually beat Munster. So, you know, that's interesting. But yeah, some close games. Well, some close, some not so close. I guess you could say throughout the matches of the URC this round. We kicked off by the Stormers. Seems like there's a little bit more attacking intent at the moment. That is going to be another knock on by the away side. And maybe Zebre. That is it for points for the Stormers, says Ethan. Yeah, then they've got Edinburgh. And then the week after that, I think they... Do they get to go... Yeah, then they go back to South Africa to face Munster as that first game. Another mistake, another knock on, another scrum in this one. So many scrums. I mentioned about it earlier on, how you always want a free-flowing game after you've had a big weekend of the rugby, but unfortunately we haven't really seen that. I mean, very stop-start, and I honestly think that does actually benefit the Ospreys. Top four last year were only 3 points between them, and that's typical in the URC. Says Kirk, yeah, that last minute kind of going down to the wire for all the sides. Is at the Osprey Stadium in the background behind you? It certainly is. This one is anyway. That one is not. That is still Mbobela Stadium. And thoughts on the competitiveness of Super Rugby considering the final score? As an outsider, it doesn't feel like Super Rugby is as competitive as it should be. I do think that that final one side showed up, one didn't. And when you look at some of the other games, the semi-finals, like I think it would have been a better game if it was Hurricanes Blues, but the Chiefs managed to beat the Canes. And when you drank all that water, but never once I went to the loo. I managed to sneak it in between streams. I also managed to cook eggs after the last live stream. So that was quite cool, I guess you could say. But, yeah. Not a lot of spare time in between the streams. Definitely because we are still getting the lineups and things to pop up and everything like that done. Top 14 final, 59-3, right? Correct, yep. One side showed up, one side didn't exist in that final. If you can't beat the Ospreys away, you're going to struggle to beat any Northern Hemisphere team. Says Ethan, and come on the Stormers, says Derek. They run from Brock Harris, the experienced veteran. They've made a few more changes. Nkura is on the field, and also Ben Jason Dixon. He's out there too. And oh my goodness, what happened to the Sharks? Yeah, it's a massive change I thought you went under the desk while commentating, says Cameron K. No, I considered it one time when I really, really needed to go. I was like, can I find a bottle? But then I was like, what if my parents walk in while I am in a bottle? I thought it might be a bit weird. So that's when we actually got my dad to come in to do that little bit. Missed your streams on the Rugby Championship today. Sadly, Hamish, awesome performances from the ABs in the box, says Dan. And yeah, it's a shame that the competition's over, isn't it? Just because it's been so entertaining watching the sides all go head-to-head, close to the corner, and run out by the Ospreys. Personally, I like the competitiveness of the URC and the uncertainty week to week. Anything can happen, and that makes for a good, exciting league. As a Kiwi, you're really committed to commentary of the URC. So, says Dominico. And yeah, currently this is our 10th hour of commentary for the day. We covered New Zealand versus Australia, Lions versus Ulster, South Africa versus Argentina, and now we're here for the final game. 69 minutes through into the last 10 minutes or so. And thank you for your commentary, says Dominico. No worries at all. Connacht scored again. They are close to it. The TMO is just checking it, but I have given them the points just for now anyway. I genuinely think if Mo'unga or the ABs get Mo'unga back, it'll be all they need to get back to form like 2023. Oh, okay, it's going to be no try. Connacht try has been taken away. Stormers only a couple meters out from the Ospreys line here. Can they finally strike? Get themselves another one. Congrats to Diggers Rugby Club champs. There's Allen, and that is going to be the try for the Stormers. Busting through, it is, who is that? I think that is JD Schickerling, who pops up with the ball in hand. The Stormers back in the game. Like I said, you can't give up on them just yet. There is still time to turn this game around. And comeback is on, says Grant. South African teams joking together, says Darren. Yeah, the first two sides getting the wins for the Lions and the Bulls. These two sides having very competitive games. Oh, okay. Connacht just scored the try that they had disallowed. So that got rid of that one. There we go. There we go. Tell you what, my eyes are very bloodshot today. In fact, they're probably worse than normal. That one in particular looks awful. Looks like I've just done a line. Welcome back, Schickerling, says Grant. And get back in the game with JD's first try back on return. So he's not your everyday cultist. And even if they win, man, disappointing. I don't know if you can tell, but I really don't rate Ospreys at all. I've kind of got that vibe, Ethan, from the last little bit. Matia lining up this kick. Oh, he shanked it big time. In fact, it wasn't even Matia. It's actually the replacement number 22 for this game, which I believe is Duplessis. I believe. We have got there. But now they have scored a try, Connacht, and 7 points. Take them to 31 would be South African. Standard win by 1 for the Stormers, says Dakota. Come on, Connacht, that's the way to do it. Connacht now with an opportunity to add an extra 2 points. Rugby Lions, Hamish, says Dominique. And Ospreys beat the Stormers in Cape Town last year. And yeah, they did by 6 points in the end, 21-27. Going to be a relatively similar scoreline here by the looks of it as well. Here we go. That is the score in the Connacht game. They are currently up by 6. So both games actually are separated by 6. Both South African sides down by 6. And both have a total of 8 minutes remaining to win. Now, shall we play a fun game? Which might not actually be fun. But I think one of these South African sides are going to win their game. Both down by 6. Who's going to be? Who's going to win the game? Is it going to be the Sharks or is it going to be the Stormers? Do let me know. Can we get a close-up? I don't think you actually want that. That might be too kind of brutal for YouTube's terms of service. Poor on both occasions. Says Ethan. Now going back to the right-hand side here. Great attack and run from the Stormers, but who? And Hamish, your most anticipated rugby fixture to watch anywhere in the world. I mean, Springboks All Blacks always brings that intensity. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the Stormers. Come on, the Sharks. Says Lillian there. 7 minutes left. I don't think the Stormers can afford to kick this one for the post. They have to go for the corner. And they have to look for the victory. I feel like they are the more likely of the two sides at the moment, just because of how much momentum the Sharks have lost from conceding try after try throughout the second half. The funny thing is, for the Sharks, if they don't score again by the end of this game, they actually will not receive a bonus point in terms of for 4 or more tries. And Stormers for the win says Giovanni, the Sharks says Liliaby. And also we have got there the Stormers to sneak this one at the death, and Stormers can do it, says Dominique there as well. But 6 minutes left in the contest. I should mention, if this game is finished before the other, we will be closing out that other game too to let you know exactly who wins it. I know your mother wants the Stormers to win, so do I. Says Bruce, big run from Marabe. Only about 15 metres out from the try line now for the Stormers. Make that 10 with a big run from JD Schickling. Going to the left-hand side, Nkura goes off to Marabe again. To the left side ball to Andre Hugo Fente. Didn't look like he was quite ready for it, but he's handled it well. JD Schickling, another carry for him. He's had to work extremely hard throughout this game. Damien Valimza, still 5 minutes left. They've been told to release him, the Ospreys. Almost getting themselves penalised. How are you still awake, Hamish man? What time is it? It's currently 9:10 a.m. here in New Zealand. You look high on one eye, Hamish. I would agree with that. Yeah, this eye does not look like it likes being up all night. Is there another language in the world with the sound like you New Zealanders produce for the 6 and 6? It isn't sucks. It isn't sex. It is something very special like the animals down under, says Dakota. 6, 6, 6. 6. Now you got me overthinking it. Well, the heck, man, alarm to get up. I will go off in a minute, says Ethan. Yeah, that's the thing. By the time I have a shower and go to bed, I will have to set my alarm for about 12. That's when I'm getting up. Still only just out from the try line here for the Stormers. Can they get over? Oh, that's great defence from the Ospreys, trying to shut this ball down and make it unplayable. Up to 18 phases here for the Stormers. And they have got 4 minutes left to either make or break them. They want to score between the posts if they can, but they've gone out wide to Ruan now. Cuts back on the inside. Brutal. Fish. And your opinion on Pablo Matera's red card, and your opinion on some of the Stormers' best players so far. That's the penalty to the Ospreys. I think Matera's one, is one of those ones you can't afford to hit players in the head because you're going to get in trouble. Whether it's a yellow or a red, either way you're going off the field for the 10 minutes. In terms of the Stormers' best players in this game, I would say that in terms of the fullback, JD Schickling has been really strong. Just a really good, strong, low tackle. Got him around the bootlaces and managed to win the penalty. They said he was still on his feet, but okay, they're saying he put his hands down after he got the ball. Sharks don't fault for losing after leading by 20. And Beauden Barrett surely the best option at 10 for the AB's Hamish. I'm not so sure. I know a lot of people were happy to see Beauden at 10, but he only got the same rating as McKenzie in terms of a 7 out of 10. And McKenzie had a lot less time to be able to get that rating. So, oh, that's Ford. That's Ford from the Ospreys down the wing. That's dropped anyway from Dewey Lake. The scrum's going to take place about 15 metres further down the field. But yeah, it's interesting now because Beauden Barrett's had some minutes out of 15. And Will Jordan has been scoring 2 tries in a row at 15. So are they going to leave Jordan there for the end of year tour, or are they going to go back to Beauden Barrett? Barrett be an option off the bench, or will McKenzie be that impact player that they go with? They've got a few big decisions to make. Ethan, very true, brother. That guy is awesome, says Dan Bota. And Moonga is the best 10 for the ABs. How old is D-Mac currently? I think he's about 28. Something like that. I'll ask my phone. How old is Damien McKenzie? 29. When's his birthday? Birthday is the 20th of April. Okay, so I wasn't actually that close. I guess 28. Nice backline movement coming here for the Stormers. Ooh, almost handling error from Damien Balimza. Kicks it in behind. Gets it into the 22 of the Ospreys. 1 minute 30 remaining in both games. Another penalty to the Ospreys. Where's the ref going? Did he march them forward 10 as well? Oh no, it's offside at the kick, I believe. And out of the 4 teams, who do you think is most likely to score points next? Says Kerr. I would probably say Connacht out of these sides. I don't actually know where they are on the field, but I just feel like they'll get a 3-pointer to close out the game. And then the Sharks would actually get 0 points from their game. Amateur mistakes, man, says Ethan. And Wales the Sharks. But now the Ospreys, they will kick this one towards the touchline. 45 seconds remaining. This is giving me Currie Cup final vibes here for these sides. Going down to the wire. All they're going to have to do is put the ball in touch. Ruben Morgan-Williams gets man of the match. That has well and truly earned that chip kick in behind to the assist to the try. Was absolutely brilliant. Is there a special day of time where you are forced to wear a tie for the commentary, or does that depend on the importance of the game? It's normally, if it's an important game, I'll wear the suit and tie, or at least the dress shirt and tie. It's just become a bit of a trend for the channel. That's a big rolling maul here for the Ospreys, and they're trying to take away the point. That's a penalty try. And that is going to take away any point that the Stormers would have had. It's going to be a yellow card as well. And that is the bonus point for the Ospreys as well. They will walk away from this game with 5 points. The Stormers with 0. Connacht going to be able to do the same. Of course, no conversion needs to be taken due to the penalty try being awarded. Ref, you eat a bag of eggplants, says Grant there, and fantastic, says Ethan. Yeah, a 13-point win in the end for the Ospreys. This game was a lot closer than that at times, though. Shocking discipline in the final 10. Says not your everyday contest for the World Cup final. Would you wear a top hat too? Probably not, because I have headphones on. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. But what did we do? I think we did just the normal suit and tie for the World Cup final. Poor, such a strong Stormers time. And they've bottled it. Yeah, now we've currently got 1 minute 20 remaining in the Sharks versus Connacht game. And currently the Sharks are down by a similar margin. They were down by 6 at this stage. See whether or not they can somehow pull off the victory. Now, I will mention we are not ending this live stream until the Sharks game up against Connacht does end, and it looks like Connacht are lining up 3 points with 1. Oh, we're back. Hello, everyone. What happened there? I mean, terrible that it happened, right? But very good that it happened now rather than right at the end of the game between the Springboks and Argentina or any time like that. That kick has gone over from Connacht, which will now make the score with 15 seconds remaining, 36 to 27. OMG Munster lost. Yeah, there's been some big sides losing throughout this round. Gone, says Dominic. Yeah, I didn't do that on purpose. Pay for your own accommodation and flights back to Cape Town, says Ethan. And we have got their poor form both sides. Oh, the Sharks are in position here, so they can still get themselves 2 points from this game if they score now. A bonus point for 4 tries. Springboks versus Argentina today was decided long before the end. I know, but still, if it had cut out for that, it would have been a pretty big shame. Yeah, currently they need one more try here, the Sharks, to get 2 points. And if they get it, honestly, to have the lead that they did, but then to still walk away from this game with 2 points rather than what? No. The Sharks are going for the 3. That's the same thing that stopped them from getting anywhere last year. The negative mindset of not feeling like they are strong enough to score points. Sia Masuku lining up this kick. There's a part of me that kind of hopes he misses it now, just to teach the Sharks to stop being so negative. Which two sides would you say played better, Ospreys or Connacht? I would say that Connacht played the better game because they somehow came back from being down by 20 points. Just fake a line break to have a P, says Dakota. Now lining up this kick for Sia Masuku. This is to give the Sharks 1 bonus point rather than going aggressive and going for the 2. I called it, says Kerr. And there as well. Sia Masuku. Line up this kick and give them 1 point. He's got it over. So they will get the 1 point there. And sorry to ask results today. Justin from work says, Dennis, so of the games that we've seen so far, we saw the All Blacks beating the Wallabies by 20 in the end, 33 points to 13. The Lions beating Ulster by around 15 points, I believe it was. Then we saw South Africa winning up against Argentina by 41 points. Massive game coming from the Bok. And then it was also the other game that did take place. Wait, was it 41 or did they have 41? They might have had 41. No, they got more than 41 actually. My apologies. And then alongside that, we saw just recently Ospreys beating the Stormers and Connacht beating the Sharks. But the Sharks in the end finishing with 30 points, so they receive 1 bonus point for the game. And Sharks think they can win. And well, at least the Sharks get 1 point. That's how you blow a 20-point lead at halftime, says Lilia B. Yeah, like, that's the thing for the Sharks. Like, they were so good in that first 40 minutes, and they were in the position where I honestly would have thought anything less than 2 points would have been disappointing, because at one point it looked like anything less than 5 would have been. But Sia Masuku, I guess when you've got a guy who's so safe off the kicking tee, you can afford to go for the 3. A lot of rugby today. Watched the All Blacks and the Wallabies this morning. Watched the Bulls match live, and watched Springboks Argentina, and they have 48. And then Argentina had, they have just the 7. And then for Argentina, actually, yeah, they did. So, yeah, 41-point difference between the two sides. I'm not too sure why I thought Argentina had 13. I think that was because of the game between the Wallabies and the All Blacks that had that score. But nonetheless, I better quickly update that one down the bottom to say that the Sharks got 30 points. So 2 wins earlier on for South African sides. Then the Springboks played, and then the 2 sides who played afterwards both lost. Is that something to read into? Probably not. It's just happened. Look at there. Thanks, mate. Missed out today. Says Dennis. And there as well. But nonetheless, like I said, next weekend we're going to try and do hopefully 1 or 2 URC live streams. Also quite a few videos coming throughout the week, including a team of the tournament. A little bit later on, what's your opinion on the ABs and the Wallabies form? Neither of them have found their stride. New Zealand in that game that they won by 20 still didn't look great. Like, they had some good moments, but they still looked like they had a lot to desire out there on the field. So that is good news in a way, that they can still improve a lot more in how they are. We know the Springboks being so far ahead of the All Blacks last time. Has this ever happened before in history? Says Dakota. I mean, the Springboks are on a fantastic winning streak up against New Zealand. I think it's 4 in a row now, or maybe even 5, that they have been able to win. New Zealand, yes, they'll be a little bit disappointed about losing those games up against the South Africans in South Africa, but at the same time, you know, there's still things that they can take out of that as a positive, because they were both losses for within 7, and that's up against the current world champions. So to be as close as they were in both games, yes, there's disappointment for not winning, but there's also positivity that you can look at and say, we're right up there. We're still competitive, even in games that we're not playing our best rugby. So, like, you know, there's a lot of things to look at for a lot of international sides. Argentina, they had a great rugby championship, but also 2 poor performances, unfortunately, did hurt them overall. We have to wait and see how they bounce back for the November international. Sia wanted to kick for a line out, but instructions for the sideline to kick for the posts, says Lilia B. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I feel like he would have backed himself to put it right in the corner and give them a really good shot of being able to get a try. But then I guess you're still in that position of either way, you still, you needed to get over that try line. And they saw what happened in the Currie Cup final. They were able to do a similar situation to the Lions, how the Lions went for the line out and didn't make the most of it. So there is a bit of an injury for one of the Connacht forwards, unfortunately. So does that mean we are still number 1, waiting for backlash now? Not quite, no. Sadly, still at the number 2 spot in the rankings overall. Bloody hell, the Jacks won, says Flesh, and they certainly did. Ospreys and Connacht both getting themselves wins over the SA sides. But of course, next week is another week. That's literally scientifically true, and we'll be ready to go for next weekend. But yeah, like I said, we'll have a couple slightly quieter weekends just because I will be on holiday. I'll be trying my best to do as many streams as I can throughout that time though. And like I said, regular videos will still be coming out on the channel, which are hopefully nice and easy to do while I'm away. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this weekend. It's been a massive one. Once again, the Rugby Championship has been great to witness, and it's been greatly appreciated you all being here. How long for the Sharks game? That game is over. The Sharks have lost that one 36 points to 30. They took the 3 points at the end to get the losing bonus point, but they will not receive the extra point on top of that as they only scored the 3 tries. 2 for Andre Esterhuizen and 1 for Geraint Grobbelaar. Nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in all throughout this weekend. We will see you all for the next one, which will be hopefully very soon coming up in the near future. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.